It's a time for a package from China. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So in this video we are going to take a closer look at the new devices from our friends from China. These are more like the retro game consoles. Some of them are Android boxes, some are based on Linux, some are based on just on PC. Nevertheless, there were quite some interesting, let's say features with these boxes. And I just want to do some videos and also revisitings. What are we going to get? But in this video, let's take a close look at the Data Frog one. They are selling it by many names. Nevertheless, let's take a close look what's inside the box. So the new Pandora Saga, or they call it different names already mentioned, is that this is what we're going to get. We're going to get a very long HDMI cable. We're going to get ourselves the deluxe toilet paper manual with an explanation about the software. Do you know what's funny? They are giving you a manual for a Pandora Saga 3D, and it is not really a Saga. So they are even selling, I think they are selling it in different form factors, like the Yama edition you can see over here. It comes with a basic power supply. This is a 12 volt 2 amp. I must say it is a very nice power supply. Normally we're going to get these very cheap ones, but this one doesn't look that bad. And we're going to get the famous UCOM controllers. And the UCOM, it's more like a mixed bag. I really love the translucent. We're also going to get it with blue joysticks and some blue theme things on it. But I like it, man. This looks very nice. The only thing is the joystick feels kind of more slippery. It feels kind of cheap. By the way, they don't smell cheap this time, and they look quite nice in my opinion. And these UCOM controls, I think the first time I saw this was more like with the X game system, more like people see them like the Soldier Boy consoles. The touch itself is not bad at all. The D-pad feels quite nice. So I must say I'm surprised. Beside the joysticks, not bad at all. But let's take a close look at the system itself. Because the controls is all fine, but what are we going to get? So basically what they're doing with these boxes, because some Pandora's boxes are basically running on Android, they are slapping some old Android boxes in these casings. This is more like a rubbery compound look-alike. I'm not a big fan of it, but in the end what you're going to get is a game system, or like an Android box that they converted to a game system. But what I like about it is that at the back we're going to get an Ethernet connection. We're even going to get an optical out. We're having an AV out for audio and video with an HDMI output, and of course an input for the 12 volt. And we're going to get a switch, and yeah, not Nintendo Switch, but an actual power switch. And that's something that is really not common on these things. For entering the settings, we're going to get this tiny settings, this very clicky tiny button, and when you're pressing it, it'll go into the settings like in Pandora's box. So on this side we're going to get two USB ports, just 2.0, very old, retro, and of course we're having the slot for the CF card. This is by the way only a 16 GB, but there are quite some different versions out there, even up to 128 GB. Okay guys, so what you're going to get with this version is the Pandora Saga 3D Wi-Fi. Yeah, and the reason why they call it the Wi-Fi, because we have our Wi-Fi capabilities of course, but with Wi-Fi it was very limited. You cannot do a lot of crazy things. Sometimes they're adding these naughty stores that we basically can add new games. I'm not a big fan of it, simply because when you're looking closely to these boxes and you're looking at the game stores, in the end it's very limited. But let's talk about the menu for the people who are new to this, because I like this menu and I completely understand why they keep reusing this. Okay, so nowadays what you're going to get is the similar menu. For the people who are familiar to the channel, have seen it before, like with the Pandora Games 3D, 3D Plus, and there are a lot of different brands out there who are using it. Basically what they're doing is getting this front end, slap their own label on it, and that's it. And on the back end it runs a lot of different emulators. So what you're going to get is here the all list. By the way, for the people who are not familiar with Pandora's box, in the beginning of the Pandora box era, it was just a nightmare with these things. And I mean with this more like a shitty mixed up list with a lot of stuff in it, and you couldn't find most of your favorite games, no search option. And nowadays we're having a lot of great things like category system, and these new boxes are getting really close when you're looking at a Raspberry Pi number 3. We not say 4, because the 4 is still more powerful than most of these boxes, and especially you can see this when it comes to the Sega Dreamcast, PlayStation Portable, things like that. But still, yeah, we have a lot of capabilities. They're still doing it like back in the day, slapping a lot of games on it. There's a great example that we don't have a preview picture. It's just a mixed bag in my opinion. Yeah, and adding these pictures, it's possible if the Pandori tool, because there are some guys out there from the Pandori tools making these applications, that we can basically add new stuff. This is something they keep messing up. Sometimes they're using the Mega Drive logo, sometimes just the Xbox 360. It depends, of course, what kind of system. We're having a recent list, and not to forget, of course, we can search the games if you want to search in title. So it's very interesting how they set it up, and they keep reusing it. I think they're using this method for, let's say, a year or two or so. Okay, so a quick peek into the settings menu. Here you can change some things out like controller settings, key settings, exit mode. And this is more like if you want to exit the game, how you need to basically do this. For having starting coin, if you want to press like and start, you can set it to a certain button that you need to press for a very long time. And auto exit within a couple of minutes, or you can just disable it. Image optimization, disable HD in scan lines. That's something you immediately hate it or you just like it. And enter game market, and enter game market over here is more than market that we're going to need in combination with the Wi-Fi capabilities or the Ethernet. It's more like the Naughty Store was talking about, that you can basically download games, but I have more like a mixed feeling about this, simply because I did notice a lot of people had issues like stuff didn't download, didn't work whatsoever. So if you want to be naughty and add games, just do it with a Pandori tool, in my opinion. This thing has inside, so what we're going to do is going to remove the 4 feet. And then we're going to grab ourselves a screwdriver, because I'm guessing the casing itself has held together by 4 Parkers. So the first thing that we're going to do is remove the 4 Parkers, and we're going to take a close look at the inside, the specifications, and of course, is it a possibility to use it with a different system like a normal Pandora's box. You can lift up the cover, and what you can see already that it has a completely different mainboard. It also says Pandora Saga Wi-Fi TV Game Box. And again, we're going to need to remove a Parker, because this only single Parker is holding the mainboard in place. Alright, so this is the mainboard. We're going to take a close look at it later, because I just wanted to show you this. It's a very strange way how they made this top half of the casing. We're having here the pads. I cannot say that they are normally using the pads like this. Is in a very strange way. We're having this very big plate, and I'm guessing the plate itself will give the most weight of the system, because this is the part that weighs the most heavier. The first thing I did notice with the PCB is that there is no EDA connection, and that is a little bit of a bummer, simply because you can't use this mainboard in your Pandora's box. The next test, we're going to try out Bloody Roar 2, one of the more demanding PlayStation 1 titles. And you can see it is running on the full 60 FPS without any hiccups. N64. As you can see that this game runs very well, but I need to point out that not all the games are running perfectly, and all the glitches I have seen, like with Kill Instinct, are still here. So keep in mind that N64 is not 100% compatible, but Cruise in the World is running just fine. The Dreamcast is always a little bit of a problem playing these on the TV boxes, or better said, the game system from China. But what you can see, it runs very well. Okay guys, so this is what we're going to get with the Pandora Saga 3D Wi-Fi edition. This thing comes by many names already, a couple of times I've mentioned this, and the reason why, because it's quite confusing. So if you want to get a box like this and you're interested to just pick it up to see it for yourself, it's more like this thing is just a mixed bag. And what I always find a little bit disappointment is that when you're looking at this, it's not super bad, but when you're looking at Pandora Games 3D, they are using way better specs, and even then we don't have a good performance with Dreamcast and PlayStation Portable. So for the low-end stuff, it's just fine, but when you're looking at high-end stuff, it's a little bit problematic, I can tell you that. And there need to be a lot of fixes, no aspect ratio, etc, etc. I want to thank you for watching. Consider subscribing, hit the little bell, become one of the Wicked family, and I will see you in the next video.